Good morning, everybody. Ricardo Wilkins here. Another cute session for teams, champions using teams effectively. We're just going to dive right in today. I was actually chatting with someone just a few minutes ago about some PowerAutomate stuff, and I thought that that would be a good thing to talk about today. We talked about it, I think, last week as well. So Christiana, if you want to jump in at any time, but I think I was hearing the vibe you're talking about in terms of, basics of PowerAutomate, whether it's a form or something like that, and triggering off somebody maybe submitting a form and then, and then doing something, emailing. And in my case, I like pushing messages to teams as well. So yeah, I'm going to fire up my demo here, but yeah, any chime-ins anybody wants to make would be cool. Let's see here. I want to share. Got a couple too many windows open. Let's go here. All right, there we go. All right, so yeah, as I was saying kind of before the session started, at its very basic level, PowerAutomate is triggers and actions. Something happens out in the Office 365 world, or maybe even beyond if you have connectors. It triggers the flow to start, and then you can do all kinds of things after that point. So let me get into mine. I always like to go from the Office 365 portal because it usually makes it log right in a lot nicer. But hopefully you saw that. Obviously, I might get to PowerAutomate from all the many apps that you have there. You can certainly go for government, go to gov.flow.microsoft.us. For commercial, I think it's flow.microsoft.com. But it does log in nicer when you just use the portal. So we're here, and certainly I've got some flows that I've created, but first thing really just to point out is that there are a bunch of templates for a lot of the standard stuff you would want to do. And even when I know exactly what I want to do, sometimes I try to find a template that's close to it, especially if it's at least a trigger or something close to what I want to do, because that means somebody else has done some of the work. I can delete some of the things that I don't need, but somebody else has done the work of at least attaching them together. It might save me a couple of minutes. In this case, though, we could probably start from scratch. The one I think we were just describing before we started this session was about a Microsoft form being submitted and then doing something. And so I think when I do those kinds of things, I usually go to connectors and I search for the thing that I want to trigger off of, like forms. And then from here, you can see it shows me the kind of triggers that are available for me. For some things, there could be like 10 things here. For forms, it's pretty straightforward. When a form is submitted, when a new response to a form is submitted, that's our trigger. So if I'm starting with this blank canvas here, what do I do when a new response is submitted? And in this case, it is looking for a form that already exists. So this list here is pulling from, if I go back, so I'm going to go to forms from my Office 365. You can see I have all these existing forms, and because of my sign-ins, PowerAutomate is aware of all of them, right? So I could pick any one of these. Let me pick one out that I'll remember. Let's go with this Q2. So when a response is submitted to Q2, then what do I want to do? That's when all these new steps come in. So from this point, I've got a ton of stuff. I mean, you see a few here, but really there's, I think, hundreds really. And searching might be helpful if it's not one of these listed here. In my case, I mean, I like posting to teams, so that I think they assume that we all like that. So that's one of the ones kind of listed there up front. So I'm going to choose Microsoft Teams and see what can I do when a form is submitted. What can I do in Teams based on that trigger? And this is the list that we have here. All right. So a bunch of things. Some of them are more related to like getting data, like for instance, list the channels, right? That's probably because I want to do something even after that step. I want to list the channels, and I want to take, that list of channels and push it to something else, right? The one that's kind of more finalizing, I would say, is something like post a message in a chatter channel, right? With this selection, I can really get this flow done in these two steps, right? So in this case, I want to post it, in this case, as myself. So what does this mean, post as? I want the post to actually have Ricardo on it, not, that PowerAutomate symbol and, whatever it says there. So the Flowbot would be posting it as PowerAutomate. I want to post it as Ricardo. And which channel, or do I want to post it in a channel or a chat? In this case, I'll choose channel. Thinks about it, and it starts filling out more things based on that choice. So now it's saying, well, what team? And as I do the drop down, it knows my teams. It's going and doing a query to get all of my teams. Little tip here, you may, as you're doing a flow like this, decide, I don't have the team yet, or maybe even as we get to the next step, I don't have the channel yet. Let me go make that channel and come back. You can certainly do that, but you may need to like either delete this action, or maybe save, go out, come back in to give it a chance to query again, because you'll be clicking this thing all day long and wondering why that new channel you created isn't showing up. We got to give it a chance to kind of do a new query to go find that new thing you just created. In this case, though, I'm going to choose something I've already got. So let's say this got a team called Lots of Channels. I think we actually made this team in one of these sessions. And then which channel? I'll make it I'll just say channel 1. So again, it knows all about us. We've chosen, we want it to post as me in a channel, in this team, in that channel. All right. And then it's what's the message, and even what's the subject, which isn't required. So that's the equivalent of, I could post a chat, just, the message body, or I could hit the little format button, put a title, all that good stuff. So in this case, let's say, because it's submitting a form, I could say, I think that was a Q2 form. So I could say something like Q2 form just got a new submission. And, maybe this is because I'm posting it to a team and channel where the rest of my team we're all like monitoring, we're all waiting for new submissions to the Q2 form. So now this, posts, to everyone can see that. And that's cool. But what would be cooler is so with this, the team sees it, oh, we got a new submission. Let me go to the form and see what's up. I go to my portal or whatever and try to find the form. Be nice if I could have a link to the form right here in this post. And luckily we can. Let's see, I think, let's say, I guess I'll just call it link. And I haven't done this in a while, so we'll see if this works the way I expect it to. The target, I probably need to. So this link I just clicked here, if you can see this, I can make this a little bigger. It's like a code view. I click it only because I'm comfortable with HTML. You can see it kind of goes with these little tags and whatnot. Not everybody may be comfortable with this HTML view, but it does give you, in my opinion, some more options on formatting and whatnot. Again, if you kind of know HTML, but it also, to me, makes it easier to kind of get at some of these, variables, I guess. So what I wanted to do here, so insert parameters from the previous step. I think response ID might be what I'm looking for, but let me try that. So I'm just going to try this here. What you can see is I put a little variable, as this thing says. It's data from this step that is available to the next step. That makes sense. And if I go back, yeah, it looks okay. Q2 form just got submitted. Let's do a test and see what this actually looks like. I'm going to leave the subject alone. And the first thing I'll do before I even hit save is I hit the flow checker to see if there are any errors. Doesn't seem to be any errors, something this simple, I would hope not. So I always check that, and then I'll go ahead and hit save. Okay. So your flow is ready to go. We recommend you test it. Yep, that's a good idea. So testing it, I could certainly just kind of say this is done and then go make a submission to the form and check the runs area. But let's go ahead and hit test. And what we'll say is that we're going to manually submit a new response to that form to trigger this. All right, so manually and test. And all that lets us do is basically sit here. You see it's kind of waiting, and there we go, yep. And it's waiting for me to go do that thing. So it's gonna do its thing. Let's go over to the form, which was Q2. And all my forms, let's see. That would be funny if I couldn't find that. There it is, Q2. All right. And let's so let's see, let's get a link to it. Copy. Let's paste it. We want to just want to submit to it. So I'll make a choice and hit submit. Submission has occurred. Let's go back to our PowerAutomate. You see what just happened here. Your flow ran successfully. I got green checks. You love to see green checks. That means every step in this happened successfully. It even tells us how long it took. You know, if this was bigger or more complicated, you know, imagine seeing green, and then maybe a yellow or a red X, and that lets you know if you have to go back and debug. I don't know if everybody's got developer backgrounds or not, but you know, lets you see where that flow stopped, and it just helps you troubleshoot. Okay, what was the problem with this flow, or maybe what was the problem with the data that came in? Maybe in this case, we're green across the board. In fact, if we open this up, we get to actually see some stuff that we might not care about, but obviously this is the message that it tried to put, but this is, you know, the outputs, all that good stuff. Let's just go look at it actually in our team and see what happens. So I've already been in the lots of channels team here. I'm in channel 1, and there's the submission posted by me. Q2 form just got a new submission. What didn't happen the way I thought it would. I'm sure it happened correctly. One must be the ID or something. I was hoping for a link, so I didn't do that part right. But we did get the submission in our team posted by me. Okay, so hopefully that part was at least useful. Any questions on that, or is that kind of thing you were expecting? Let me go back here. So this is the one. It would be nice to, we should probably label these better. Let's call this Q2 submission test, something like that. So it did work, and I took some time to explain it, obviously, but if I wasn't explaining it, you could imagine that this could have taken just a couple minutes, right? And in a couple minutes, you would get the ability to have people, whether internally or externally, submit to your form and have that response, or at least an alert about that response, come right into your team. To be able to put that together and what probably would have been a couple of minutes if I wasn't explaining it, I think it's pretty good stuff. So let's see what my problem was. So yeah, response ID was not what I was really needing to turn that into a hyperlink. And in fact, off the top of my head, I don't remember now what the best way for a hyperlink is. I'd probably have to go research it here, because none of these that are immediately here are going to help me. Response ID, resource data, and body, none of those are going to help me there. I don't know if anybody on the line has done this and already knows it. What I could do, though, just even manually, is probably take this guy, the URL, and pop that in here. It's not as pretty. And in fact, then if I go, if I highlight this, do this, and let's do the link target, make this prettier. Oops. Of course. Go here, that, put the target, and then this guy will say link to form. I bet this will work. We'll hit add. That looks nice. Let's try this again. And let's go submit another one. What's this guy? Hopefully I can submit twice. There we go. Let's go to here, submit. And then let's wait for it over in Teams. Didn't work the way I wanted it to. I don't know why on that one, actually. Somebody could, take that and get to the form, but I was expecting that to work a little differently. So this is where the troubleshooting piece comes in. I really don't know why that one didn't work. I thought I had it on that one. I did save it, right? Yeah, that's interesting. But that's certainly closer to what we were trying to do. I think I'm gonna try this again, actually, because that looks right. Save. All right, try this one more time. I'll go here. Let's just paste and go. Submit. It is not working for me. So that would be something I'd have to troubleshoot. I know I've done it successfully in the past, but it's been a while. But really the key I was trying to get to there is this idea of just being able to talk to teams from that form. And pointing out that while we simply, post it to a channel, there's still room for new steps. I could, in addition to posting to that, start sending emails to people. I could be throwing adding a row into a table and updating that row with some data from the form. There's tons of stuff. I mean, some that is listed here and others we could just start searching for. I think I saw a hand up. Do you have a question?
Yeah, Ricardo, that was me. I've had a few other things where you're trying to send the message to teams from some other application that it seems like the inability to use rich text formatting in that. And I don't know if maybe that was part of the issue that you were experiencing there. It doesn't seem like it should be, but
yeah, and I know I've been successful in the past with doing this, and even especially when I start going into the HTML. I mean, I've gotten bold, and I've gotten some stuff happening in the past. So I was curious why this one didn't work. And it might have been. So, for instance, if if I remember my HTML right, I think this is the HTML for doing a form. You see it linked it. Let's try that real quick. Shouldn't have to know HTML though to get this one, but let's see. Paste and go, submit, come back here. See, now it's linked up. But that's, I had to, oops, is it gonna click for me? Not actually clicking for me. Something else is going on, but yeah, there. I don't know. That's something else. Yeah, so that starts to get it there, and so knowing that it responds to HTML, then I could have used the B tag for bolding, and I could have start using font size. I could make this look as a knowing HTML, I could start making this look good. Yeah, so but to your point, yeah, I thought that, and this, I just need to go, because you got some rich formats here. Like if we do Q2 form bold and make it bigger here, let's see, and let's even put some color. Let's put some, what is this, highlights on it. See how it responds to that. Let's save that. go here, submit another response, and come back to my team. Yep, it likes that. So there is some options here. I don't know why it won't let me click that. Let me check. Let me go to the actual. Yeah, that's weird.
Do you have to click the control button?
That's what I'm doing, and it still doesn't like it. So that's kind of weird too. But yeah, so what this does show us is at least these format controls, the limited ones that we have here, they do work. And I guess this, the link worked for me. But yeah, you can see behind the scenes it did all the stuff I was just talking about that I would have maybe have done manually, font size, blah blah blah. So yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, been a while since I've really dived into this. But yeah, with a little troubleshooting, I'm sure I could probably figure it out. Maybe I'll try to have that for next time. But again, remember that that's just one of many things you could do. Technically, I could have posted this to multiple channels, posted it to a new chat to some individual. That's why it kind of gets fun to start to actually go into, especially like if Teams is what you're interested in, to see all of the things you can do in Teams. Yeah, and in some kind of way, I could have, I guess, mentioned maybe specific people on my team, whoever was really responsible for that Q2 form. That would be good. And then other things as well. Again, it's several hundred, connectors, and then with all the different actions and whatnot. I mean, you're in the thousands of things that you could do. Based on the form submission. So we just chose a real basic example there. Again, from a connector's perspective, you always start from the connector, let's say SharePoint, for instance, and then you can see here, SharePoint has 10 different triggers, built in, ready to go, and even some examples for getting started. So if, for instance, I wanted to do something with SharePoint and Planner, I mean, that's what I do, is kind of start looking at these, and then I see my little symbols. There's SharePoint, there's Planner. Even if this isn't exactly what I want, I go in there and know that at least the trigger's right, and I see Planners in there, see how they kind of got some things started for me, and then I can start, either deleting or adding as needed. It even gives me some idea, like if I, because somebody's kind of pre-done it, you kind of can reverse engineer it and kind of learn some things about these flows just by starting with the template. So a lot of work is done here for me. That's always good. So something to keep in mind. So hopefully that was good for kind of what you were talking about earlier, Christiana, and maybe similar to the other demonstration you saw. So awesome. Any questions on that? Thoughts?
No, but I really appreciate the recording of your videos, because at any time when I'm working on a project and hit a roadblock, I'm able to go back and reference that. So thank you.
And don't forget, when you go there, to hit that subscribe button. I got a little personal goal of trying to get to 100 subscribers, and I'm at 89 right now.
I think I'm already subscribed.
Oh, awesome. Well, tell your friends. I need 11 more. So I can, I'm pretty much I just want to get a youtube.com/teamwork cowbell URL. So looking for those extra subscribers.